Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like.
Check out our podcast below in the description as well.
All right, here's some numbers that are real. Aaron Rodgers, 13 touchdowns, no interceptions. I'll repeat. 13 touchdowns, no interceptions. 13 also the number of games the Packers won last year when they were 13-3. And you and I said they're not a 13-3 team. When they played the 49ers, they sure as hell didn't look like a 13-3 team. Neither time. Now I watch them, and I think this Packers team is better. Because Aaron Rodgers, better player than he was last year when the numbers were good.
Yeah,
remember last year the numbers were good too, and people were like, but his arm strength. I think that's over.
Well, to me, it wasn't just arm strength. He was just missing throws. I watch him right now through 4 games, and I think he is currently the best player in the NFL. That's no slight to Russell Wilson, who is, I'd put 2. But if I had an MVP vote, I don't. I would vote for Aaron Rodgers.
You're not saying you would take Aaron. Are you saying you would take Aaron and Russell over Patrick Mahomes? You're just saying they're playing from an MVP. You're saying from an MVP. Yeah.
It's kind of like LeBron became like Patrick Mahomes is the guy, right? $450 million. I would take him, build my franchise around him. In a vacuum, 2020, Aaron Rodgers through 4 games. We're just talking about the present. Is playing better than everyone, and that includes Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't mean anyone would take him over Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, big picture, he's 36, going to be 37 years old. But I'm telling you, Guy, in some circles, the text message threads I'm on, I didn't know that much about Danica Patrick and the relationship they were in. I've heard she's not she was kind of a downer for him. And, I don't know if he got in quote-unquote bad shape, but I don't think he was in peak shape the last couple years. Have you seen the State Farm? And I think we've talked about this. The State Farm commercial where he's standing next to the black dude and he's in a white T-shirt.
Where he's throwing the ball deep. Where he chucks the ball.
He is jacked. Yeah. And I would imagine they shot that thing into, maybe the summer. Even during Corona, probably wasn't shot last year. I think he got in phenomenal shape. And I tweeted during the game, I'm like, this guy reminds me of 2014 because that's the last year he won 2 MVPs, 11 and 14. And then I looked and I'm like, actually in 2016 he threw 40 touchdowns, 7 picks. It was the most touchdowns he's ever thrown, or I guess second most. He threw 45 in 2011, his first MVP. But I think it's fair to say between 2010 and 2016, he had a stretch where you could argue he's playing as good a quarterback play, right? A couple MVPs, a Super Bowl, as we've ever seen. Just in a vacuum, quarterback play. The talent, it was elite. And then the last couple years, it was left a little be desired. Now, granted, his bar was so high. To me, the eye test is just fucking eye-opening watching him play right now. If he was a pay-per-view guy, if you're Packers, let's say they were playing a big game, and you're you got to pay $5.99 to watch Packers-Niners or Packers-Rams or Packers-Seattle. You're paying that. He's that good right now, right? He is just... Mahomes, Rodgers has been, a stalwart for the league. I watched him last night and been yeah, this is when I think Brady, Manning, Rodgers, for a decade. It was Brady, Manning, and then Rodgers. Right? Yeah. It was right there with him.
Yeah, I would say Mahomes is absolutely still Mahomes. He's not fully in. I don't actually mean that he's in the zone or not in the zone. I just mean Rodgers is firing on all cylinders. Mahomes is just part of what makes him so great is right now the Chiefs are not playing 4 quarters of their best football every week. And he's still, it's no problem. He's not concerned about it at all. It's still easy for him, right?
And in any given game, right, against the Ravens, it mattered. He's I'm the best player in the world, and it happens. But I don't blame him. He won the Super Bowl last year. He's won his MVP. It's just not cruise control, but kind of cruise control.
He knows he's got more than enough. To me, when I watch Rodgers, one thing is after they drafted Jordan Love, and it became this is Aaron going to be so pissed off for greatness? Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But I think one thing is clear: whatever him and LaFleur's relationship has gotten better, right? I was watching them on Monday night thinking their coach is better than the last coach they had. Matt LaFleur is a better football coach than Mike McCarthy. Because part of the job, and this is what we give Phil Jackson so much credit for, part of the job is getting along with, at least managing, having a good working relationship, getting the most out of your best talent. Now, maybe part of it, too, is LaFleur is just, however football needs to be played now, he's really good at understanding it and making the most of it. but he clearly got through to Aaron. Like when you see some of the quotes Aaron had a couple weeks ago about, I didn't want all the pre-snap motion before, but I get it now. Like he got through to him, and it was probably a lot of, Aaron, I'm telling you, man, you'll see. I thought about the Packers-Raiders game in Canada preseason last year. Remember when the field was shitty and Gruden kind of punked LaFleur on the field? Remember it was like, I think we're fine. And LaFleur's like, yeah, I think we're fine too. But he didn't really want to play with a 100-yard field in both end zones. And it was kind of weird. Would the Raiders, would the Packers be better with John Gruden? I don't think we can say that. Like, clearly that whole thing is just, it's working. I feel better about them now than I did last year when they went 13-3. And again, I'll repeat it. You and I both thought they weren't a 13-3 team last year. I watch them now, and I think they look like a 13-3 team now.
And I think even diehard Packer fans go, last year was a weird season. We went 13-3, went to the NFC Championship, but we've had really good teams in recent memory that were way better than that team. And I think they look at this team and they go, this feels more like, regardless whether they go 11-5 or 14-2, this team is stacked because the quarterback is kind of, it's weird, right? Is he embarking on one of the great fuck you seasons, or is it just one of those, not necessarily a fuck you season, but more like, hey guys, I still got it.
Yeah, I think it's that.
Because people started tweeting at me like, John, the best FU season of the last decade is Brady post-Deflategate, suspended 4 games, goes 11-1 in the comeback, 28-2 touchdown to interception ratio. Then they win 2 playoff games pretty easily, and then they has the 28-3 comeback. It's just one of the great FU to Roger Goodell. Who's really his FU, right? Because it would be to management / LaFleur. But like you said, they had another moment last night where they're hugging, he's smiling at him. Their relationship is clearly going pretty well. And listen, I was someone that questioned LaFleur. I'm not going to just anoint him as like some all-time great, because he is dealing with an all-time great quarterback.
Right.
Now, and his offense, as we see with McVay, Shanahan, Stefanski, like this offense is what you should be running in the NFL. Because if you have an average quarterback, and we'll talk about Baker later, it can work. Case Keenum types, right? Mullins, CJ, whoever. If you have a good quarterback, Goff, Jimmy, it really works. If you have an all-time great quarterback, you can eviscerate people, which is what the Packers are doing right now. Like when Matt Ryan that year won the MVP, it was like when your quarterback's locked in, you're just going to move the ball with ease. I also think like a huge part for the NFL and their greatness and their success, and I've said it forever, the millennial version of Magic and Larry Bird was Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. And really what that symbolizes is like what Magic and Larry were just 2 all-time greats, 2 rivals, and they were just like incredible players. They were just box office. And that's what Brady and Manning were. And really, I think...
Can I add one thing to that? Because I think you nailed it. And they were 2 rivals who understood what their role in being box office rivals was. Like, that's what
Manning and Brady were the exact same, right? You would probably say Peyton, in a weird way, was much more like Magic. He was just the showman. He would do the commercials.
The difference was he played for the Colts and Tom played for the Patriots. Like that's not Celtics Lakers right on paper.
No, but I think that shows you the power of the NFL. It's much more global. You don't need the big brands. And Rodgers probably more your prototypical small market but huge brand in the Packers. Kind of was kind of the Michael Jordan. Now he hasn't won as much. But I think we all said in a weird way, like I think Tom Brady's the best quarterback, but he's not more talented than Aaron Rodgers, right?
Right.
It's just like we watch Aaron Rodgers, we all admit, like in a vacuum talent, Aaron Rodgers can do things that neither one of those guys can do. That's what's weird when we talk about quarterbacks, right? It's like, yeah, I think Mahomes might never win. Let's say if Mahomes wins 3 Super Bowls in his career, it's going to be incredible, right? I mean, 2 more over the next 10 years, it'd be great. Like Rodgers had an unreal career. He might never win another one. Like once you win the 1, it's a pretty big deal. Once you win 2, you're in hollowed ground. And could he win it this year? Like it would be big for the NFL and just the superstardom. Like it's a great thing for the league to have this guy playing like that. Because really they're old quarterbacks. Tom still moves the needle, but he's not as good anymore. You know?
So
despite the numbers last week.
I think like what you just said about the talent not being the number one deciding factor in quarterback play. Like I talked to somebody who knows Aaron like a month ago, and they were just like, yeah, he's the Jordan Love thing did piss him off. Like he's angry, but clearly that anger's not getting in the way. Maybe that anger is what got him ready for the season. He's not playing with it now, and it's really not the positions that are just about physicality maybe are better positions to play angry. I don't know that anger is like the number one emotion you want your quarterback to be playing with. And clearly he's having fun. Like if you watch his facial expressions, they're throwing the ball down the field up 2 scores late against the Falcons, and he's just kind of having fun. He doesn't give a fuck. To me, he is as comfortable as it's the combination, right, of knowing everything you need to know about your sport and also still being in the physical condition to be able to make the most of it. Like Tom is past that. Tom, Breeze, they know everything, but they're not in the physical condition to make the most of it. That's what makes Mahomes scary, is like he has so many years of prime skill left, but he's not at the top of the pyramid in terms of understanding everything about football, even though you watch him and you think, how could this guy get any better?
Guy, he said last year, he's like, yeah, I still don't even know all the coverages and stuff.
To me, that's where Russ is, right? Like Russ is at peak at the fully self-actualized as a quarterback and also still physically good enough to make the most of it.
You could argue Russ is going to be smarter in a couple years. Like he still is 31, 32 years old.
Aaron, it felt like was just maybe he was about to go this way and he hasn't. And now you look at him and you go, when the Niners and the Packers play on Thursday Night Football, Week 9, what's the line?
Shit.
What's the line of that game going to be? Because now I'd have to say the Packers are going to be favored.
Where's the game?
San Francisco. Niners coming off back-to-back road games in New England and Seattle.
Yeah, to me it depends. Are the Niners 4-4 or are they 5-3? If they're 5-3 and the Packers are 7-1,
Packers play the Falcons. Falcons play the Bucks, Texans, and the Vikings. And the Vikings is a home game. I think the Packers are going to be favored going into that game right now.
You're saying the Packers have 3 games until that game?
Yeah.
Because they are buys this week. One thing to note is Rodgers the last couple weeks has eviscerated opponents. His best wide receiver by a mile and one of the best players in the league is coming back, right? Devontae, I think they've been, once they realize like they can get by winning, he was on the fence. They've held him out. And Rodgers even, did you see his post game last night? He's like, the number one key in this bye week is like, we got some star players that are hurt. Get them back and we'll be fine. It's like, he is not wrong.
Yeah.
You know the thing is with Rodgers, when you can gash people on the ground and and even just throw the ball to the running back, like the one thing McCarthy always did is they threw the ball deep down the field. I remember when they beat us in Philly in the playoff game, like running wasn't their thing, and like James Starks had like 100 yards in that game, and it was a big deal. It was like the Packers never run the ball. That was never their deal. Now they can gash you on the ground, and Rodgers is going throwback. Like, what do you do? And that's where I think LaFleur really got to him. And I also think, like, to me, there are 2 types of divorces. Some divorces are, listen, we're still close. We just don't love each other anymore. We have some children. Let's just go our separate ways. This isn't contentious. Like, we're not going to start 2 separate businesses, whether we remarry and compete against each other. We can still be friends. We're going to be very cordial. We're actually like each other, right? We're not in love. We're not going to have sex anymore. So let's just go our separate ways. So it's not like, oh, who'd she marry? Who'd he marry? Did she upgrade? What's she driving? It doesn't get like that. And then there are the divorces like, fuck you. I'm not paying you shit. I'm coming after all your money. And it's just, they hate each other for the rest of their life. I do think maybe not that extreme, but it's on the end of like the divorce between McCarthy and Aaron Rodgers was much more like F you. We're judging each other the rest of our lives. And it's pretty clear, like, McCarthy's got some major red flags, and Rodgers looks like, did he carry McCarthy? Because I watched some of McCarthy's press conferences and go, I don't know. I can see where Rodgers thinks he's a little bit of a meathead. And I've always supported McCarthy and just watched him with Dallas and hiring Nolan. I can see where Rodgers goes, not only is this guy not intellectually on my level, he doesn't, like, he's so stubborn, he won't adapt. Like, this guy, there's a chance that guy's going to, there is a chance he fails huge in Dallas.
Well,
right?
But yeah, I mean, look, I said this after week 2 when they beat the Falcons. If I'm Jerry Jones and I'm 77 years old, I'm sitting here going, did I just hire a guy who I'm going to have to keep for 3 years, and he is not the guy that can get me, forget about to the Super Bowl, to like the NFC Championship game? And all of a sudden, like, I think part of the reason you hired Mike McCarthy was I need a coach that makes me comfortable enough with Dak to pay Dak. That I go, you know what? He's taking Dak and making him the franchise quarterback that I'm kind of forced into a corner of making him anyway. And they're not doing that right now. Now, maybe to your point, it's Mike Nolan, but he hired Mike Nolan. And I'd be really concerned right now if I'm the Cowboys that I hired the wrong guy.
If they went 5-11, do you think if Jerry were to fire Mike McCarthy after 1 year, it'd be not that crazy?
I don't think it'd be crazy at all. Because to me, what you'd be doing is what you're going to do anyway in 3-4 years.
Yeah, I agree.